The dispatcher wrote something in the margin, 4 words. She underlined them twice. The 3rd of November 1994, Humboldt County, California, 11:47 at night. The redwoods were black against a darker sky, fog sitting low on the asphalt, and somewhere out past the tree line, a caller was on an open line, breathing hard, not speaking. Then the sound came through. Not the caller's voice, something behind it, a vocalization, low then climbing, the kind of frequency that arrives in the chest before the ears register it. The dispatcher, a county employee with years of overnight shifts behind her, stopped filling out the incident sheet. The nature of complaint field stayed blank. She had a classification code for wildlife. She had codes for domestic disturbances, medical calls, vehicle collisions. What she logged that night didn't fit any of them. Emergency dispatch centers across multiple U.S. states maintain separate classification codes specifically for unidentified animal or creature reports, distinct from standard wildlife calls. Most people who dial 911 never know those codes exist. Most dispatchers rarely use them. That night in Humboldt County, the code was used. The incident sheet was filed, the recording went into evidence storage, and the acoustic signature captured on that open line, the sound behind the caller's voice, was eventually submitted for analysis. The analysts found no match. Not in marine reference databases, not in terrestrial ones. The recording was never closed. Ron Moorhead spent 3 years in the Sierra Nevada, from 1971 to 1974, capturing audio phenomena that the University of Wyoming's Electrical Engineering Department later analyzed using spectrographic equipment built for intelligence applications, not wildlife research. Their 1,978 findings described vocal tract dimensions that exceeded known human or primate ranges by significant margins. No comparative biological model was ever established. By the end of this video, you will hear exactly what that dispatcher wrote in the margin of case number 94 to 11847. 4 handwritten words that appear in no official follow-up report, underlined twice, and never formally explained. The deputy filed his report the next morning. 4 words at the top, stamped in red, probable wildlife mountain lion. Case closed. Except it wasn't. Mountain lions are documented extensively. NOAA's Pacific Acoustic Reference Library holds 34 catalogued call signatures for Puma concolor, the North American mountain lion, frequency ranges, duration averages, harmonic structure. Decades of field recordings, measured and mapped by researchers who spent careers in the dark listening. The Humboldt recording matched none of them. Not close, but outside margin. None. The frequency range fell outside known felid vocalization parameters entirely. The duration pattern didn't align. The harmonic structure, the layered overtones that give any biological call its signature, produced a profile that NOAA analysts could not place against a single entry in their terrestrial reference library. A wildlife biologist's job, in a case like this, is to find the closest match and assign it. That's the protocol. That's how ambiguous field recordings get closed. You find the nearest known species, you note the variance, you stamp the file. They couldn't find the nearest known species. Lynn Curlin at the University of Wyoming ran spectrographic analysis on a separate set of unidentified Northern California audio recordings in 1978, using equipment originally designed for intelligence applications, not wildlife research. His findings noted vocal tract length estimates that exceeded normal human dimensions by significant margins. No comparative biological model was ever established. The mountain lion answer fails on acoustics, it fails on frequency, it fails on harmonic structure. Here is the question that remained on the desk after every official explanation collapsed. What biological source, living, documented, and capable of producing sound in that frequency range with that harmonic profile actually exists in Northern California? The answer was not in the NOAA library, but someone had recorded something that sounded like it. 9 years passed before anyone looked twice at the recording. In 2003, a graduate researcher at UC Davis was building a comparative database of anomalous California field recordings, routine academic work, unglamorous, fluorescent lit. Case 94-11847 was one file among hundreds. But when the frequency analysis ran, something stopped her. 340 Hz fundamental, 680 Hz harmonic overtone, duration 4.2 seconds, repeated at 1 second intervals, mechanical almost, but biological in origin. She ran it against every cataloged terrestrial species in North America: elk, bear, mountain lion, the official verdict from Chapter 2, coyote. Nothing matched, not the frequency, not the interval, not the harmonic relationship. She filed a supplementary note in the UC Davis Bioacoustics archive and moved on. One paragraph, red paperclip, stamped and shelved. That paragraph named a comparison point no one had publicly connected to a land-based encounter before. A 1997 NOAA acoustic event, logged off the Northern California shelf, deep water, 40 miles offshore. The harmonic profile was described in NOAA's own event log as, and this is the agency's language, unmatched against known biological sources in the Marine Reference Library. The same harmonic signature, marine and terrestrial, 3 years apart. Here is what that means structurally. The 1997 NOAA event occurred in open Pacific water, depth exceeding 200 meters, recorded by hydrophone array. The 1994 recording happened inside a redwood forest, elevation 1,400 feet, 40 miles inland. Different mediums, different environments, same acoustic fingerprint. Bioacoustics doesn't work that way. Convergent frequency profiles across unrelated environments require either a shared source or a shared anatomy producing identical resonance. Neither explanation is simple. The researcher's note sits in an archive in Davis. One paragraph, one comparison. One question she never answered. If the harmonic profile matches, what does that mean for where the source can actually live and how far it moves? David Quill was not a government employee. He was an independent acoustic researcher, working out of a home office in Northern California, surrounded by printed documents and highlighters, and a very specific obsession. In 2011, he filed a Freedom of Information Act request with NOAA. Standard procedure, routine paperwork. He expected nothing unusual. What arrived was a 7-page internal memo, dated January 1998, 4 months after the 1997 offshore acoustic anomaly had been logged along the Northern California shelf. The memo was not a dismissal, it was a recommendation. NOAA's own analysts had flagged the 1997 event and proposed it to be cross-referenced with something specific: terrestrial incident records from the same acoustic corridor. Terrestrial, not marine, land-based incident records. The memo named Humboldt County. It named a date range. That date range included November 1994. Quill set the memo down under his desk lamp and turned to page 3. Someone inside NOAA had already drawn the connection he was drawing now, years earlier, internally, quietly, without public announcement. But here is what stopped everything cold. The final paragraph of that memo recommended the cross-reference be suspended, pending, it said, further taxonomic guidance. No taxonomic guidance was ever formally issued. The file was suspended before any biological identification was attempted. The recommendation died unsigned, with no follow-up notation anywhere on the page. NOAA had the acoustic data, they had the geographic overlap, they had a named county and a named date range, they connected the dots, and then, officially, they stopped. The question is not whether the connection was made, it was. The question is what taxonomic classification would have required, and why, in 1998, nobody in that building believed they had a category for what they were describing. So what exactly was in case 94-11847 that made a federal agency pause before it ever looked directly at it? 31 years. That is how long Margaret Collis worked the Humboldt County Dispatch Desk before she retired. Her name appears in the county's 2019 retiree directory, plain as anything. 31 years of service, one entry among dozens. Nothing remarkable, until you find case number 94 to 11847. The incident sheet exists. The 3rd of November, 1994, 11:47 at night, a caller reporting something in the tree line. The deputy filed it as probable wildlife, mountain lion, and that should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. In the margin of that original sheet, written in blue ink, underlined twice, are 4 words Margaret Collis wrote before the caller ever spoke. She was describing what she heard on the open line. The ambient sound. The 4.2 seconds of audio before the first human word appeared. She wrote, "It was still breathing." Not the caller, whatever the caller had called about. NOAA's 1997 acoustic event log documented a frequency event of identical duration, 4.2 seconds. Independent acoustic researcher David Quill matched the waveform signature. Multiple university laboratories, using equipment originally designed for intelligence analysis, could not place it inside any known biological reference library, marine or terrestrial. No taxonomic identification was ever filed. The case stamp reads open, unresolved biological contact. The date field on that stamp is blank, because no closing date exists. 31 years of professional discipline, thousands of calls. One woman, in one moment, stopped writing the official record and wrote what she actually heard. 4 words, handwritten. Slightly smeared, as if written quickly, as if she needed to get it down before the certainty left her. The recording is still in evidence. The case is still open. Whatever breathed into that open line on the 3rd of November 1994 has never been named. That door has not closed. If you found this fascinating, subscribe. We investigate strange, real creatures like this every single day.